Welcome everybody, and thank you for taking the time to listen to today's presentations. This presentation's focus is going to be all about rainwater harvesting, the benefits of having a rainwater harvesting system, and a guide to rain barrel installation. So with that, let's get started. First off, what exactly is rainwater harvesting? Well, it is a sustainable water management practice that collects water from surfaces on which rain falls and storing it for later use. These practices can be something as simple as a single rain barrel or even up to an entire system that integrates with household plumbing or irrigation. Why harvest rainwater to begin with anyways? Well, luckily for you, there are many benefits. Depending on what system you go with, it could be essentially free with only the initial cost of installation. Rainwater harvesting also helps utilities reduce peak demands during summer months, thus saving treated water for more important and appropriate water uses throughout the year. It also provides a great backup water supply for emergency situations. If you replace municipal water use with collected rainwater around your home, this will in turn reduce the amount of water that a municipality has to treat and then pump to your house. The treatment and pumping of municipally provided water requires a lot of energy. Therefore, less water to your home equals less money out of your pocket. Another category to consider are the environmental benefits. Did you know that collected rainwater happens to be an excellent source of water for plants and landscape irrigation? If you are watering your plants with treated municipal water, you are potentially introducing chemicals such as fluoride and chlorine. Rainwater also has just the right pH to promote nutrient availability. Another important consideration are the impacts water runoff from our homes is causing to our storm sewer systems. My current position with the City of Waterloo is the stormwater specialist. Therefore, it is my job to ensure there is less runoff and therefore less pollutants making their way into our storm sewer systems and ultimately out to our water bodies. The elimination of runoff can reduce contamination of surface water that carries pesticides, sediments, metals, fertilizers, chlorine, and bacteria with it. These pollutants could be the cause of many situations, some of which include messy construction sites causing sediment track out onto the streets, illegal discharging of pools, dumping of chemicals or debris into the storm inlets, blowing of grass and clippings and leaves into the gutters, washing of cars on driveways and streets, and many more. By putting these rainwater harvesting systems around our homes, we can do our part to slow down water runoff and allow for proper infiltration to avoid issues with water quality. If we are reducing the amount of water that is overbearing our storm sewer system, we can also help prevent issues with flooding of neighborhoods. It is important that we all do our part to eliminate as much runoff as possible and report people or homes where this is seen happening. Also, by reducing stormwater runoff, rainwater harvesting can reduce a storm's peak flow volume and velocity in local streets, streams, creeks, and rivers, thereby reducing the potential for stream bank erosion. So what exactly is a residential solution to rainwater harvesting that we can easily partake in? Installing a rain barrel, of course. There are many different types. They can be store-bought to look more like natural features around the home, or something as simple as a 55-gallon drum that can be converted into a rain barrel with the purchase of a converter kit from your local hardware store. The opportunities are endless, so for those interested in purchasing one, I will go over basic steps and considerations when it comes to installing a rain barrel. First things first is to determine what the intended use is for the rainwater that you plan to harvest. If you plan to just water your lawn or plants that will not be used for consumption, no treatment will be necessary since any contaminants may filter into the ground. If the plan is to water plants for consumption, you may need treatment due to the composition of the roof or even coliform bacteria from any bird waste that may be up there. One option would be the use of first flush diverters. These are simple contraptions that divert the first flow of water away from a rainwater catchment system and therefore washes your roof of all the sediments and contaminants that have collected since the last rain. Next, you want to start thinking about where you would like your rain barrel to be located. Some things to consider include house aesthetics. Are you planning to decorate it? Show it off proudly. If it is a bulky item and don't want it to be seen, consider that as well when choosing a location. You also want to think about its ease of use. Consider putting it close to a garden or flowers that you'll be watering frequently. Drainage is also important because you don't want to have standing water in your yard or end up with water inside your home. The downspout overflow should be directed to a pervious area like lawn space or a rock or mulch landscaping area where it can properly infiltrate. You also want to make sure it is a minimum of 6 feet away from structures with basements. The rain barrel site should be level. Make sure it is evened out with rock or gravel and landscaping fabric underneath to even settling and keep weeds to a minimum. We recommend placing the rain barrel on a base to ensure it has the proper height to allow for a flow of gravity. Otherwise, you may need to consider a pump. Here are a few photos showing what people have used or built for their rain barrel bases. These can be made from brick, wood frames, cinder blocks, or concrete pads. Once you have your base down and the rain barrel set in place, you will need to connect it to your downspout. Options for this include either putting in a diverter off of the downspout, as shown here, or you can cut the downspout shorter and direct it straight into the rain barrel with a screen top. It all depends on what type of rain barrel you're working with. Once you have your rain barrel all put together, you can now enjoy all the benefits it has to offer. Here are some photos of rain barrels that have been decorated and painted to make it a little bit more fun. Be creative. There are some concerns and common questions that we get regarding rain barrels. One is regarding the standing water attracting mosquitoes. As long as you have screens or valves over the openings, this will prevent any adults from entering the rain barrel and laying eggs. Also ensure that you are using the rain barrel water regularly and emptying in a timely fashion to prevent stagnant water from attracting them in the first place. Another question is regarding winter storage. Due to the freezing temperatures, we highly recommend draining the rain barrel and moving it inside during the winter months to prevent any freezing and splitting. Thank you all so much for listening. I have included my contact information if there are any questions you may have. And as mentioned, please do not be afraid to reach out to your municipality if you see any sort of illicit discharge happening in your neighborhood or around town. There is always something each and every one of us can do to practice conservation in our community.